Why in God's name is this insanely good film flopping at the box office? You see, this is why we can't have nice things. Regardless of your opinion on Ridley Scott's initially misunderstood cyberpunk original, which hit the silver screens 35 years ago, the monumental legacy it carries and will continue to carry for generations to come as a game changer for the modern sci-fi movie is a reality-based fact that is not up for debate. In this day and age of constant reboots and sequels, the mere thought of making a sequel to a film of such towering standing would be seen as nothing more than money-grubbing cinematic heresy. But fear not, my lovelies, for a divine miracle by the grace of God in the manifestation of a French-Canadian man took the reins on the riskiest and most dangerous ride of a director's career. Against all insurmountable odds and the skepticism of the global Blade Runner fanbase, our directorial guru, Denis Villeneuve, has crafted a consummate dystopian masterpiece that will go down as one of the greatest sequels in history. For those of you who aren't familiar with the original, I'm gonna try and make this as simple as possible. Replicants are humanoid androids with a really short lifespan, enhanced strength, and implanted memories. They were spawned by the Tyrell Corporation to be used as slave labor on off-Earth colonies. As the replicants eventually revolted hard, they became outlawed on Earth and would be killed at the hands of replicant hunting policemen known as Blade Runners. 3 decades following the events of the original, rogue replicants continue to be hunted down. The villain, Neander Wallace, played by Jared Leto, saves the Tyrell Corporation from bankruptcy by introducing a new breed of replicants that are designed to obey. Agent K, played by Ryan Gosling, who's an LAPD Blade Runner and new model replicant, discovers a well-kept and dangerous secret while killing a rogue replicant named Sapper, played by Dave Bautista. Without spoiling anything, Agent K's discovery leads him on a journey to find Rick Deckard, played by Harrison Ford, a former Blade Runner who's been off the grid for 30 years. The legendary cinematographer Roger Deakins had better snag his well-deserved Oscar after being snubbed 13 times, because Blade Runner 2049 is a stunningly beautiful iconographic masterwork capturing the dreary dystopian essence of the original but on a more extravagant scale. It's frightening and magnificent at the same time, finding beauty in desolation. Consumerism is the government's way of distracting the masses from the ugly reality, and this is embodied through colossal, vibrantly colored 3D holographic advertisements adorning the futuristic Los Angeles skyline. Contrasting the strange grandeur of spellbinding neon ads and monolithic corporate structures inaccessible to the public is pretty much everything else, because a good deal of 2049 Los Angeles is a jumble of graffiti-plastered back alleys and cramped apartment buildings, and these signify the wide discrepancy between the privileged few and the poor, the latter of which are doing everything they can to survive in a world that is clearly falling apart. No dialogue is necessary for the establishment of subtext, as the brilliant camera shots and haunting visuals do a phenomenal job of relaying the sad state of affairs. From the acrid yellow-orange air outside of LA, to the toxic dump stretching all the way to San Diego, to the giant seawall that's shielding Los Angeles from the raging wrath of the Pacific Ocean. The pouring rain over LA is sheer poetry, in my opinion, symbolizing the cries from Mother Earth. The rain is one of the final remnants of actual nature on a planet standing on its last legs as the negative repercussions of technological abuse take their final toll. Blade Runner is such a thematically diverse and esoteric work of art that analyzing its multitude of themes will keep us here till next week. Going really in depth would require me to dive into spoiler territory, which is really hard for me to resist. I'm not going to be giving away any spoilers, so I guess I'll just do a condensed rundown. As the blurry line between man and machine narrows ever so razor thin, what exactly does it mean to be human? When beings with binary code as part of their building blocks of life behave in a nearly identical manner to humans or are comprised of DNA, what exactly becomes real? Blade Runner 2049 takes on the original film's existential themes and builds on them to new highs. Like the original, this film's themes are subtle and nuanced. They're embedded in visual art, camera shots, plot points, and actions undertaken by well-rounded characters. Blade Runner 2049 is about searching for an identity and belonging. It's about morality, ethics, free will, the human condition, and humanity's double-edged relationship with technology. A dominant theme in this film is the concept of love, which is most notable in Kay's relationship with a holographic woman named Joy. This aspect of the film is very reminiscent of Spike Jonze's ideas on individuality and loneliness, which were tackled in his brilliant film Her. But the concept concept of love isn't just restricted to Kay and Joy. If you take a closer look at the characters in this film, you will see that their actions are representative of their varied convictions on what love means. As expected, the cast is excellent and really bring it home. Ryan Gosling as Agent K delivers one of the most powerful and nuanced performances of his career. Gosling is an expert at minimalist acting. He expertly conveys the maelstrom of contemplations regarding Kay's identity, his place in this anti-replicant oppressive world, and his profession of having to kill his own kind using subtle facial expressions and silence rather than words. Harrison Ford does a brilliant job with his returning role as Rick Deckard. As a soul who's been exiled for 30 years, Harrison Ford brings some emotion and energy to the table, with his vulnerability making him quite likable. As for Jared Leto playing the villainous Neander Wallace, I disagree with those who are criticizing his performance as Hammy because I think he actually did a really great job with the limited screen time he was given. Wallace's interesting philosophical monologues are complemented by his soft-spoken demeanor, which partially envelops his really dastardly, ruthless aspirations. Even with only approximately 10 minutes of screen time, Neander Wallace still manages to be a very complex character. He's a really fascinating combo of genius and insane, and it's all brought to the majestic silver screen by Jared Leto's bona fide talent. Guys, in the end, quality cinema like Blade Runner 2049 is why I go to the movies. I watch movies to be immersed into the experience. I watch them to be moved. And I watch to ruminate on the finer details that my eyes registered to my gray matter for ages on end after the ending credits commence. Blade Runner 2049 is a meticulously cohesive, multi-layered, powerful, nuanced, and all-around mesmerizing work of allegorical sci-fi art that will go down as one of the greatest sequels in cinematic history. It's the kind of film that gets better the more you reflect on it. And with only 9 days following my insanely memorable experience at the local cinema in Tempe, Arizona, I think Blade Runner 2049 has already clawed its way into my prestigious top 10 favorite movies of all time. And you know what kind of rating that means. So I'm gonna give Blade Runner 2049 a perfect 10. Denis Villeneuve, thank you from the bottom of my heart for this exceptional film. For those of you who haven't seen this film in the theaters where it deserves to be seen, get going. It's not going to be in theaters forever, you know. So these were my thoughts on Blade Runner 2049. What did you think of the film? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you like what I do, give me a like, hit that big subscribe button, stay tuned, and I will see you on the next one.